We are back, right? So sorry to start with this complicated picture. I will not remain here for long, but this is just to show that it was a big innovation. Okay? And we did it for studying the maturity level of each of the NRENs. So anybody can participate. It is available in electronic format, like a calculator. I will give you the link. So you can get in and you can evaluate yourself. There might be some flaws in this model, but I want all of you to come up and to identify the flaws. So there are altogether 18 parameters on which an NREN has been assessed. But within that 18 parameters, there are hundreds of sub-parameters, okay, and hundreds of weightages for each sub-parameter. We will go probably we will look into 2 or 3 parameters because it is not possible to go into the details of each and every parameter. But I will request, it was done for the emerging NRENs, but I will request tomorrow I have a keynote speech for all the REN leaders over there. I will give them the link and I will request them to fill it out so that we can compare ourselves with our maturity ratings with the developed NRENs. So that will give it a better acceptability. Okay. So let's go ahead. I have cut it down to a single parameter like organization management and governance. So what should be a sustainable model for an organization management from management point of view? Okay. So you can see here that the organization should have policies. So there were a score allocated as 10 maximum. There were 10 policies. We could identify it. The ratio of permanent versus contractual employees that Fawad was mentioning, that we focused more on permanent employees than on contractual employees. The HR policies, you should have an organogram. You should have your policymakers, the recruitment regulations, promotion policy, annual appraisal, gratuity, provident fund, and all those stuffs. The turnover rate, that is also a critical point. Then, if you have an organogram, how much it was filled. If it is filled greater than more than 80%, then you look strong. So the score allocated was 10. Then if you see the weightage factor, each of the sub-parameters were weighted according to their implication. And then we could come to a decision whether the management of governments was strong, moderate, or weak. So my question is it a sustainable model? Or do you think that any modification is needed? I don't want it right now, but let me show you, based on this model, our rankings. Probably you have seen that before, but I am trying to put it in a more detailed format. If you see that, if you go into a bit details of it, then I would request you not to take it personally. Just think it as a model, and it is not that NREN stands atop with 9.07 point. It is very much dynamic. It might happen that next year NREN will be will take place of IDREN and IDREN will take place of DRUCREN. That might happen. But let us judge on this model. I have already told you that there might have been some flaws in the model if you can identify, and we shall ask for RFC, request for comments, and we will keep on updating it. The beauty of this maturity rating is even this maturity model we can globalize. From Asia Connect, we can send it to GEON, we can send it to Internet 2, and everybody can come up with their ratings. So where we are standing globally, that also we can assess. And it has been electronically developed, so anybody can get in and he can have his maturity rating. So if I go into the details, like you can see that IDREN and LARNET, they don't have any policy, so that's why they are lagging behind. And if we look at DRUCREN, they are doing very good because they have the policy, they have the HR benefits, organization structure, they have the right organization structure, organization is filled in, and also their turnover rate is very good. That means turnover rate is low. So if a well-defined organogram, how we can judge it as an well-defined organogram? The decision making should be dynamic. The salary structure, as I was asking you, that what is the turnover rate, whether you can keep your employees with government salary structure. So independent salary structure, that should be the defining parameter of a well-defined organogram. Exclusive procurement rules. We suffer also, although we are moving as a private organization, but as of now, we don't have separate government procurement rules. So we follow the government procurement rules. Of course, our compliance is not 100%. That's why I was telling that if there is any government audit, I have to quit. There is no other way. Otherwise, I have to be in prison. The recruitment rules, you should have well-defined recruitment rules. You should be as CEO or as MD or as head of the organization, you should have the capacity to hire and fire. Otherwise, you cannot have good employees in your basket. And filling out the critical positions, that is very important, with dedicated personnel from the industry. That's why we put adequate stress on the position filled in organogram. You might have 100 person in the organogram, but if your organogram is 20% filled out, then it's a problem. So I will open it to the floor if you have any comment on it. No comment? Accepted? Or what?
Yeah. Okay, I think the maturity level is also varies economy to economy based on this what structure they have adopted. For example, PAN basically it is totally a government entity which run though HEC is a autonomous body, but it is, as I said, is a totally department of the Higher Education Commission. So the structure of the employees are totally are basically a government structure based, uh, uh, structure based, and the other policies also derived from the government. We call as a ISTA code. The procurement rules, again, we have to follow the government procurement rules we call as a PPRA, and uh, uh, and also the audit also happens as per the government rule. We have a budget of every year of 4.5 billion Pakistan rupees, and it has been audited every year. Not only the internal audit by our internal HEC audit department, but also the external federal audit we call as a government audit. So this is a thing that it is, we cannot have an independent body in Pakistan. Yet there is some policies or organogram that we have divided our HR to different projects that we are executing. So maturity is also depends on how the internal structure of PAN. For example, there is a connectivity is a separate department within PAN. Is initiative of Microsoft. We call it the Microsoft initiative. Is a whole initiative. We call it the digital resources. Is separate department within PAN, and like that, it's all other departments also. So every sub department has his own team, his own program manager, which is running this project, is running the initiative. So if it is well defined, it is well defined within this structure. I think it qualifies some of the maturity level. But I think
okay, Fawad, let me make it clear. Okay, it is better to have independent salary structure. Why? There is no obligation that you have to have independent salary structure, or if you have independent salary structure, you will get higher marks. There is no such thing over here. But if you have independent salary structure, that we assume your turnover rate will be lower. Okay, so you will get higher rankings over here. But there is no point, additional point for having independent salary structure. But as you have mentioned, the policies, you have to have policy, recruitment policy. Let it be government recruitment policy. We don't mind. You are not getting any additional point, or you are not getting any demerit points for having government recruitment policy. But if you don't have any policy, then you are going to get penalized. Okay.
I mean, this in my earlier discussion also, I mentioned that what about if an NREN do not have an independent salary structure, but yet it has a matured outsourcing model. So through that matured outsourcing model, it has successfully managed its operations of every programs that is executing, and is very well defined. So what would be the maturity level then? It doesn't have the good salary structure, yes. Does it, or 80% employees are regular, yes. But yet it has a good outsourcing model that enables them to basically manage the operation successfully. Then what it is not mentioned here that outsourcing is one of the factor that has to be counted.
Definitely, that is a good point. So your points will be taken into account, and I shall try how I can fit your comments. Whether it is already there, I don't know. I cannot answer you right now. But if it is not there, I will think about it, and I will try to modify or maneuver it in a way so that this point is taken care of. So thanks for pointing out. I will look into it.
2 years ago or 3 years ago. So to all data.
This data,
Yeah.
it was done in 2021. Right, Asita? 2020. Yeah, end of 2020 or 2021.
Yeah, from data. Yeah, then from the.
Okay, then next one is infrastructure ownership model. So obviously we put enough stress, or we gave additional points for having the ownership of equipment. So it was divided into different subsystems. You can see here routing and switching, transmission network. And all those subsystems could be fully owned or long-term lease, or it could be hybrid, it could be rented, or it can be not applicable because you are not the owner. So for different types of ownership, we scored differently, and each of these scores were weighted. As you can see, that routing and switching, we think that that should be the basic infrastructure for connectivity of an NREN. That's why the rating is almost 70%. Transmission network, if you have, then it is better. If you don't have, then you must have transmission network. It can be fully owned. If it is fully owned, then you are better off. If it is rented, then you are slightly lower. But long-term leasing, as we were talking about long-term leasing, that is almost close to fully owned structure. So those two were given almost similar score. The civil and power infrastructure weight factor is lower. Last mile fiber, if you have, then it will draw additional benefit for you. And we actually calculated the maturity level, infrastructure ownership, based on these 7 subsystems. I don't know whether we missed anything, and with different weightage. So what do you think? Is it justified, or you have any different opinion? We did it before, but we didn't get the right platform to communicate and to make you understand. So I will share these slides, and you can also come up with your comments later. So it's not an issue, but normally it happens that when we go back home, we are under tremendous work pressure and we forget everything. That's why I tried to put it here, so that at least you can have a glimpse and a basic understanding on what parameters the maturity was calculated. And actually, this is the basis which creates the sustainability eventually. Sustainability is a combination of many different factors, not because I am financially sustainable, so I am sustainable. You are financially sustainable, that is very good for you, but only for the present moment of time. Your long-term sustainability depends on many different factors. So we tried to address that in using different types of parameters. Yes.
Hello, Tariq. I have just a small comment.
Yes, I think regarding this infrastructure maturity as well, I think we need to consider the same, maybe same aspects that our foreign colleagues recently highlighted, right? So, for example, so in case of Nepal, so right, so if we talk about the backbone fiber, so if you fully own your own backbone fiber, then you will get 4 points, right? And then if you are obtaining from long-term lease, then you will get 3 points, right? So, yeah, maybe I think if you are getting outsourcing that fiber, and so far it is fully available, then maybe I think it's my personal opinion, then that may not be the crucial for the maturity level. I think that happens on the same things like the civil and power infrastructures. I think you in our case we are co-locating with the internet service providers, so they have those things. So we don't need to much care about these areas, right? So because it's fully available. So far it is fully available, and downtime is very less than I think that maybe, and they are similar to the transmission network as well. Yeah, that's my opinion, I think.
If you have the ownership, what I think, you have full flexibility, okay? You can do whatever you want to. Suppose you want to give additional backup. If you depend on the vendor, then whatever is their availability doesn't matter. It might happen. Suppose a few days back, we were running short of money, so there were no fuel, same as Sri Lanka, not same, but there was load shedding in our country. And we had to increase the backup. So if I didn't have the power equipment at my disposal, if I had to depend on some other vendor, then the flexibility actually is not there. Sometimes it happens. For in one of the university I had to depend on the power system of that university. So what happened in case of fire in the building? They just take out power. So for me, the uptime is very important. So I couldn't depend on it. Normally it doesn't happen. Availability is fine. Normally it doesn't happen. But I had to change the power system, and I had to bring the power system under my control. So if you have the power system under your control, then you have the flexibility. So that was the point actually.
Yeah,
Suppose if you own the fiber, you can increase the capacity by yourself. You don't need to depend on somebody else. But if you don't have the fiber, if you buy the bandwidth, each time you enhance your bandwidth, you have to negotiate with the vendor. So that increases the dependency.
Yeah, you are right. At some point, I think, yeah, maybe if you are very good collaborations with your ISPs, for in our case, if there is some kind of breakage at the endpoints, then ISPs are very quick to fix those issues as well, yeah, in some instances. So it doesn't mean that we need to do everything by ourselves. If we are getting the 99.9% from others as well. So yeah, that can be the way. So maybe I think we can reduce the this points like the I think 4, 3 instead just 4, and then 3.5 maybe the
What
another
can I
one.
do?
Yeah.
Huh?
If he were Pakat on top.
He wants to talk?
He raising hand.
Ah, okay.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, Wakas. Yeah, please go ahead.
Wakas,
Yes,
can you hear me?
yes, yes, I can hear you.
Okay, please go ahead.
Yes, I just wanted to make a small comment about the same, about owning the infrastructure compared to the leasing of the infrastructure. So in our case, I believe that, let's say if we take the last mile connectivity, so I have a university who has taken connectivity from me, but the fiber is leased by some other operator. But assume that it needs another 1+1 connectivity. It's getting 1G link and then it requires another 1G link. So if I am going to the operators, it's easy for me to give the another 1+1 to them without investing a lot of time and efforts in it. And in case I own the whole infrastructure, then I have to do the feasibility, I have to do the ROW, each and everything I have to look at, and then I'll be able to provide the I'll be able to fulfill the requirement of the university. So I believe if I have good arrangement, good collaboration with the operators, so we can provide the additional requirements to the universities in very lesser time.
Okay, so you prefer renting a house than owning a house.
Maybe you can term it this way.
Okay.
Again, if I'm renting the house, then the maintenance is not the responsibility of mine, and it will be an easy job done from the other person. I'll be living
Okay.
there happily.
We have got your point. Rene wants to say something.
Thank
Very
you.
quickly, it's not necessarily about ownership, it's about control. If you're gonna build data centers as an example, I'm not sure you want to do that on your own, but you want to have control of your part. If you're gonna need a lot of power and a lot of backup in that sense, it might be prudent to share that with others. So I think that should always be a business decision. Do I need to own it, or do I need to rent it or lease it on a long-term view? It's more about control than it's about ownership. You can have control, and I start seeing, at least in my part of the world, that more and more universities and more organizations actually outsource some of the base things. That doesn't mean they give up control. That just mean that they are looking for services that are cheaper and easier, and they can focus on the important thing, education and research, and less on being technicians. So it can be either way, but the main thing I think is control.
No, that is fine, but the control should be long-term control. So if it is long-term lease, then the point is almost very close to your ownership. 4 and 3, okay?
I generally like models that are very simplistic, and I'm not sure you will get me to fill out your scheme.
I think this is also, yeah.
Yeah, you have raised hand before. So go ahead.
Well, I just want to share some the case for Thailand. Okay, for our rent, we own our fiber optics throughout the countries. I think it's more than
10,000 kilometers,
more than 50,000 kilometers.
15,000.
And actually, in the beginning, it looked very nice to own and have the fiber optics. But when the time passed, it comes with the burdens. Okay, you have to take care the whole networks. Whenever there's a fiber cut, you also have to fix it, right? So our maintenance cost is very high right now. So my point is, I think like you mentioned, it's not I mean, it's not necessary to own the fiber optics for the whole networks. I mean, it depends the necessity of the your need. I mean, actually, like for example, in our case, more than 50,000 kilometers, the core network itself basically about 20,000 kilometers. Okay, the rest is go to the last mile. That's cost a lot. Okay.
You need to be very careful there. I've always been a big proponent of fiber, but you also need to be sure you can use the capacity of fiber. If you only use one lander out of 88, it doesn't make any sense. There you need to be very careful doing the business calculations. So on the main stretches is definitely probably make a lot of sense, but that needs to be a business decision all the way. Can you resell some of that capacity? If you look at the Polish network, they put in the fiber in the ground themselves, they spend a lot of money on that, and then they resold a lot of that to local telcos, to Vodafone and others, so they have an income stream. That makes sense. I've seen others, regional organization, not to name anyone in Europe, that are put in fibering where you only have one or two lambdas. I'm sorry, that's a waste of stakeholders' money. So it needs to be a business calculations all the way.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's why what I would like to say that I mean you have to do the calculation and wait. What is is it?
Paul,
Yeah.
it's a pain of pleasures. You have pleasures because you have fiber optic cable, and each and every pleasure will come with some pain. Okay.
Right. Yeah. So when you decide whether you would like to own your own fiber, have your own fiber, or you would like to lease the fiber, I think you have to wait.
Yeah, definitely. You have to give the maintenance to somebody else, and that you can do by a long-term contract. But if you have the fiber, if you have that kind of backbone, you can do many things, right? We are hankering after getting such a backbone. Muhammad.
Hello, hi.
Jasmani,
Yeah,
you can
Hello.
hear us?
yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Please go ahead.
Hello, Mr. Mohammed Tariq, thank you. I'm Muhammad Noor from Iran. I would like to add something with on this topic. On the switching and routing equipment, we own the infrastructure, but we lease all the lines from the ISP. And our core equipment, we locate all the equipment in the university premise. We have 7 POPs, all in the university premise, which save a lot of cost. But in our plan, we are looking to lease for dark fiber, but nobody in Malaysia would like to lease to us. But I have a question to you, Mr. Tariq, or somebody else. What are the pros and cons of leasing dark fiber? Thank you.
So you are trying, what I could understand that you are trying to lease dark fiber, but
Yeah.
you are not getting that, right?
As of now, nobody wants to give it to us, but the idea is quite interesting to us to lease the dark fiber. But we want to know the pros and cons if any of you have experience of leasing dark fiber. We would like to know the advantages and the disadvantages of doing that.
Okay, I got your point. So if you want to know a success story, then BDRN has done it. BDRN has OPGW, optical ground wire from Power Grid Company of Bangladesh, and it's under a 20-year lease contract. So we have our last mile fiber, not as long as Chalaram have. We have around 500 kilometers of last mile fiber of ourselves, owned by ourselves, that is only used in the last mile. And we have around 4,000 kilometers of fiber that is under long-term lease from the Power Grid Company, and it is for 20 years. So it started in 2011, and we are safe up to 2031.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tariq.
I just wanted to add, Druk Research and Education Network also owns the fiber, the backbone fiber.
OPGW?
Yes, OPGW, similar to OPGW, and similar to what BDREN has, but we own the fiber, and it's a national fiber optic network, and the government leases these fibers not only to ISPs but telecos also, and they do it at no cost. And operation and maintenance of the dark fiber is also taken care. The power company does it. The last mile fiber is also owned
You
by.
have to pay any OPEX for that, any
no.
maintenance charge?
No, we don't have to pay anything.
You are the king.
No, but also on the last mile fiber also, we also own the fiber. So we built this during the COVID to connect all the research and education institutes to the backbone group network. Since we own the fiber, what we did was we built it using WDM technologies. So we knew that there is going to be overhead cost in terms of operating and managing those last mile fiber especially. So what we did was we sat together with the ISPs and telecos and said, you take over the O&M and we'll give you the lambdas that you require to connect to the customers. So there was a win-win situation. So we don't have to worry about the operation and management. The telecom operators, the ISPs,
sharing model.
yes, take care of the last mile fiber operation, and we don't charge them anything, but they do the operation and maintenance. So that's how we do it in Bhutan.
Okay, that's good to know. Any further comments? So here is the ranking. It's not that important, but even if we have a look at it, yeah, probably Bhutan and BDREN almost at similar stages. Mostly it has been contributed by the fully owned transmission network. I don't know whether any of other NRENs have fully owned transmission network. Is it okay? Okay, then comes the connectivity model. It was divided, or it was judged on 3 parameters. The first one was types of institution connected. The NRENs which have all types of clients like universities, research institutes, government organizations, schools and colleges and others. They scored 10 out of 10. And if they have only 4, they will score 8. So that was the criteria that set against the diversification of connectivity. Then comes degree of coverage. We calculate a percentage score about the connected universities by total number of universities in the country. And that was also graded on 10. It is termed as degree of connectivity. Only universities were considered because we don't know in a country how many research institutes were there. There were confusion that whether we should take other connectivities also, but only universities are defined, research institutes are not defined. Or government organizations, it is very difficult to define. That's why we stayed limited within the university category. But in case of extent of connectivity, we aggregated all the number of connected institutes, and then we tried to assess them based on the number of institutes connected. So if you see, in case of number of institutes connected, Thailand having more than 10,000 institutes connected, they scored 10 out of 10. In case of degree of connectivity, that is percentage coverage, total number of connected universities divided by total number of universities. Learn scored 10 out of 10 because there are 22 universities, all of them are connected. So that was actually the connectivity model in which all the NRENs were tried to assess. Any comments?
We got more than what we have connected, I think. Yeah, for example.
Is it so?
Yeah, because in case of Nepal, so the universities has a constituent campuses, affiliated campuses all across the country, right? So if we connect the central campuses of 3 universities, so it doesn't mean that we cover all those constituents and affiliated. So maybe that calculations, total universities and connected universities may be further disaggregated under the campuses or maybe
Okay, you can correct it by yourself.
Yeah.
I will give you the user ID and password.
Yeah.
It is fully, I have mentioned that it is fully electronically available. So you can correct it by yourself.
Yeah, that's
and you can judge your maturity.
right.
I will give you the link and the
Okay,
access to
yeah.
the link.
The another one is maybe the number of institutions connected is the one. I think that should be the focus, right? Yeah, thanks.
You are a good student, honest student. Even if you get higher marks, you have some reservation.
Similarly, in our case, we also APAN usually have a mandate to connect universities, not colleges, not schools. So in terms of if you talk about the universities, I believe 95% are connected, whether it's private or public. It is connected and mostly same ratio with their campuses also. So I think if you segregate with the type of institutions, that is important because we only have a mandate to connect universities. Though government pushes to connect colleges also, and we have connected colleges also, but it is by request. This is not the mandate of PAN to connect the colleges or especially the school. There are 5,000 colleges and more than 20,000 schools in Pakistan. So, but this is not the mandate of PAN.
Okay. The same actually goes with BDREN, but the advantage is the colleges, they are coming under some of the universities, okay? So we are now going to the colleges, connecting the colleges, 120 colleges we are connecting at this moment. The project is underway. Already we have connected 20 more colleges. It is not reflected here because it was done in 2021, but that is under the platform of one of the universities. Actually, that university have around more than 2,000 colleges under them. So we can get access to the colleges also.
Hello, Mr. Sawik. Mr. Sawik, this is Muhammad Noor from NREN.
Yasmani, you want to say something?
I would like to add an information regarding this connecting model. I would like also to correct the value for Malaysia. We have the number is 500 universities all over Malaysia, but the government policy is for NREN is open to public university only. So the numbers is more or less in 50 units only. So I think I will crack it later.
Okay, I will give each and every representative of the NREN the access to the electronic version so that you can correct it by yourself. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Then comes the rating on maximum interface bandwidth. So we have only evaluated on universities and research institutes, and the grading is shown at the, or the criteria of grading is shown at the bottom right corner. If you have none, then you will score 0. If you have less than 100 Mbps, you will score 2. And if you have 100 Gbps connectivity, the grading will be full 10 out of 10. So it is pretty simple.
I think PAN is upgraded. The end interface is now 10 Gbps.
Yes, same goes with BitDRN also, but I have updated BitDRN's 1. Previously, it was 1 Gbps. I have updated BitDRN's 1. It is now 10 Gbps. So it was taken in 2021, and Forward probably contributed all the data. You are
So-
Forward, no, Wakas.
So this also can be updated, right?
Yeah,
Online.
Sure. I will share the access. Okay, now another issue, it's not related with the model, but it's related with the sustainability, how we can enhance availability of links. So increasing availability, we can have redundant connectivity, and not only connectivity, we can have connectivity redundancy, we can have equipment redundancy, and we can have power redundancy. Most of the time in our country, it used to happen that the optical fiber breakdown, so we cannot depend on single fiber. So you need multiple fiber, at least if possible in a ring connectivity, that is better. But what we came up with, that we couldn't manage redundant connectivity, redundant optical fiber to each and every university. So we followed a backup model. We went with an agreement with a government operator to have a VPN connectivity, virtual private network connectivity, between each university to our platform. So previously, our availability rate was around 99.8%, but the university, you cannot keep the university's internet connectivity down even for a single minute. So once we took help of that VPN connectivity, once we could establish that VPN connectivity, it is now almost 99.9596%. But even then, we are not satisfied. Now the problem is mostly due to power. So we are trying to enhance the redundancy, power redundancy, and if we can do that, our target is to make it 99.99%. So if I give you an idea about what is 99.99% on a monthly availability, that means you can keep your client network or client connectivity down for 4 minutes in a month. So that's a big challenge, that is for sure, but we are taking that challenge. And we are successful in and around the capital city, but for remote city where the power outage is more frequent, we are not still up to the mark. So 99.95%, that means 20 minutes in a month, that we can reach. So that is also a big achievement for a country like Bangladesh. So this figure I have taken, we have developed another electronic website through which the whole compendium of 2020 has been made electronically available. I told TAIN to take it under their control, but for what funny reason they don't want to take it, I don't know. If they could take it, then the 2022 compendium should have been up and running by now, because the survey form, everything, your previous data, everything is available. You will just edit and you will post it. It's a matter of only 1 to 2 hours. The whole compendium will be up to date. But I don't know why they are not taking it. We can all do it, but if we get the right forum, we can do it. They told me that whether it will be available in 10 portal. I told them, yes, you take it with full source code, because I have engaged my full software team to do it. So you take it. If you don't take it, then nobody is going to use it. Then what is the use of investing my money? I'm not asking for any money. You take it. But they don't want to take the control. I don't know what funny reason.
No, the little I know, they don't have people to even talk to and take it. So yeah, let's.
I spoke to them. I mailed to each and every governor. I mailed it to steering committee for their comments. But
What I propose is
I haven't received any single
Sorry.
response.
Yeah, what I propose.
Other
is-
than you always respond. But
Yeah, but what I propose is if you think it's good for all of us, we'll have to decide that. And if there's no much overhead, just a 2 hours, like you said,
Mhm.
we'll all fill it for the next next year, every year. What's the big deal?
Yeah, that's why I disclosed it in such a platform, so that everyone can have an understanding what it is, and I can motivate and encourage everyone to engage their time and energy. So I can open it to the floor, how you are trying to manage your redundancy and upgrade your availability.
So basically, the last mile fiber is something that operated by the ISPs. So the biggest challenge that we are facing is to have multiple presence of the multiple ISPs at particular site.
Let me understand, let me dig a little bit more. The last mile fiber, you have one fiber or redundant fiber to the universities?
At the metro cities, the luxury is available, but if you cross the metro cities, this luxury is not available. That we have multiple last mile fiber till to the universities. So basically, and the
Yes, a few of the universities, they have multiple fiber.
Yeah.
But few of them have single fiber. Are you providing overhead fiber, or in the last mile, are you providing overhead or you are providing underground fiber?
we are providing the underground fiber
Okay.
to them. But the thing is, the important point is basically the presence of the operators at each site. For example, we make the tenders to have a backup links, yet it is available at the main cities of Pakistan, but it is not available at the remote sites. And you can say these 60% of the universities or 50% of the universities are at the remote sites. So the presence of the operator is always important. You can have a backup link from a same operator, but it would work. It would work because if the site is down, the operator site is down, the whole university is also down. So this is the one major issue that we have faced. The second thing is we have a backbone ring which is 60 backbone fiber, which is 6,000 kilometer, and we have 3 rings in Pakistan. So this is the one ring is basically is round about 3,000 kilometers. It's a whole huge ring. So if it cuts, so the whole sides at the affected location goes down. So
It's not any ring formation.
this is a ring formation, but the frequency of these failures do occurs when a ring's down, when a fiber is cut down. So we need to have multiple.
So you mean it might happen that multiple fault at a single time?
Yes, because it's a long fiber. So we have to have a bifurcation of the divided the bigger rings into smaller rings, and that we are doing right now. But it will take time, so that the multiple smaller rings can have a better have a better
Availability.
thing to that it will not cut at one time. So this is the 2 things that we are facing right now at the time.
So you are reaching each and every university using a single operator, the remote universities, right?
Yeah, it is mostly a single operator that we are reaching.
Okay, in our case, it's little bit different because we are reaching with our network. We have the liberty and flexibility to use our own transmission network. So we are reaching the universities with our network, and we are taking the backup from the biggest telecom operator, that is a government operator, at a very low rate. It is only 20 BDT per Mbps, at a very low rate from the operator. So we have full-time redundancy. About Dukren, how you are managing the redundancy issue?
So we have about 5 rings. In the west, we have about 2 rings. In the central, we have 2 rings. And in the east, we have 1 ring. So we have achieved 99.96% uptime.
Very good.
In June, from June 2022 to July 2023. And these new rings, 10G links were commissioned recently, and we are hopeful that we will be able to provide at least 99.99% uptime going forward.
What is your major challenge now?
The challenge is
only fiber cut.
Yes,
How seldom it happens?
On the OPGW, it doesn't happen much.
Okay.
But on the last mile,
mile?
yes, we do face fiber cuts time and again because the fibers are on the power transmission, power distribution poles, and the fibers that we
They are overhead?
They are overhead, but not much of the height is not that
low.
great. Yeah, very low. So it is prone to the fiber cuts quite often. And going to the university.
How do you maintain 99.96% availability with
the
last mile overhead fiber?
Not with 99.96 is the backbone.
Backbone
yes.
availability.
On the last mile, we do not have redundant connection to the university, to the schools, to the hospitals. But in the 35-year plan, which we have started from this year, we are planning to identify how we can build rings in the last mile to ensure availability. So this is another 2-3 years project. So we are
What is your availability at this moment?
Right now it's very low.
99?
Lower than 99 in terms of the last mile fiber.
Normally, if it is overhead, we go with the client with SLA of 98%.
That's the same thing we do. 98% is the uptime that we guarantee. But because of most of the cases are force majeure, landslides during the monsoon season, because Bhutan is a mountainous country, and especially during June, July, August monsoon season, we do have lots of fiber cuts because of the landslides. So we don't take into account this as an outage. It's more of like a force majeure. And we have a good understanding with our universities, colleges, and they're quite understanding, but they want more uptime. So we're working towards that to build rings in the last mile.
Okay. Rajan? Hey, Arifin.
Okay, all right. So yeah, in context of Nepal, our last mile connections is managed by our preferred ISP partners. So we don't need to be much more concerns about those things should they immediately fix. But yeah, you are right that in terms of redundancy links, so that is issue. So some of the members they have the separate redundant links for their purpose. But yeah, most of the members, so they still have to work on that redundancy links. And in terms of a redundant device, I think that is the important things for us.
Okay, you mean, if I am not clear about it, you mean that each and every university, they have NREN connectivity and another connectivity from another ISP?
Not exactly. Actually, we use the same fiber to provide our VLAN as well, right? So usually the same fiber used for both commodity and so we just send our
Or you
VLAN.
provide commodity service?
Yeah, we provide commodity. And yeah, regarding the redundant devices, so that is the issue. Sometimes we face those things at the NOC level. So, and how we manage those things is the practice of the community. So at that time, so we can learn and borrow those things from the ISP. So I think that is very helpful for us. So maybe I'm not sure that will be applicable for other NRENs, but that's very strong points because you will not be able to purchase those things immediately, right? So I think that is a good thing we can think about, I think, right? So yeah, I think that's all, Taurit.
Rene, you want to say something? I saw redundancy in Denmark. So the redundancy, what they do, they they have both fiber redundancy and also the equipment redundancy. So they connect the edge router that is at the university premises to two of the distribution routers using totally redundant fibers. So even if one POP is down, it doesn't matter. Through another POP, the university remains connected. So that is probably a luxury for BDREN or the other NRENs. Because even there is one power outage, they can withstand.
So all a question about what you have infrastructure, because in principle, if you want to really build redundancy over the Nordics is about 2.5 kilometers long and about 1,500 kilometers wide. But the connectivity has been done by N+3. So principle, there's always 3 ways out of a site.
N+3 in the backbone or in the last mile?
In the backbone.
In the backbone, yeah.
And in the
I saw it.
and in the last mile, it's definitely N+1.
N+1. Yeah.
But the structure is also so much different, so you can't really compare it because the requirements are not just IP but also lambdas.
Lambdas, yeah.
So that whole infrastructure is built as a DTN network more than a traditional backbone. So you can't really compare it.
You have lambdas at the last mile, you have MPLS, and you have also IP, right?
Yes, we got lambda to all the major research institutions. So any instrument, any large research institution can have their own lambdas.
Okay. And they put their transmission equipment on your lambda, or?
They are all on Nordnet/NREN transmission equipment.
Nordnet.
It's not university.
Okay. So moving forward, let's have a look at the service model. So I put it in that way in different categories: the cash cow service, flagship service, widely used service, out of the way service, and other services. Let me classify it for BDREN, how it works. BitNREN has many different services. It is grouped into 6 categories. So if you ask me, what is your cash cow service? So actually my cash cow service is internet connectivity. And as I have already mentioned, that each internet connectivity has a backup internet connectivity using another operator. So that is my cash cow service. And flagship service, the services which can only be available using BitNREN, that is eduroam service, that is one of my flagship service. On-prem Zoom services, that is one of the flagship services. And the consultancy that we provide, we are leading in providing consultancy for the campus network design, smart classroom, and university management systems and all those. So our members depend on our services, or they always ask for our services. Widely used service, that is HPC, or computing and virtualization service, that is widely used, but that is not cash cow service. So later on I will explain what is the difference between why it is widely used but why it is not cash cow. That we learned while we visited Nordunet in 2016, how to package your services. And out of the way services that I already mentioned before, that we provide the delivery of equipment and commissioning. We also develop campus network. We maintain campus network. Why I am mentioning those or branding those as out of the way? Because while I joined in NREN industry 7 to 8 years back, I was told that, okay, there is a border for NREN. What is that border? Point of demarcation. What is that point of demarcation? You cannot get inside the campus. So that was there in my mind till 2018. But later on, I could understand that if I cannot get inside the campus, then actually I cannot make them dependent on myself. So I wanted to make them dependent on myself. And that took me to go beyond my border, to cross my border, and to trespass into the campus. I build the campus network. Sometimes the budget is not available for the universities. So I give them the budget. Okay, you take the budget. Once your finance will be available, you will pay it off. So by giving them the equipment, I take the full authority. So they gave me the maintenance, so I can earn a healthy amount from the maintenance activity, and I have the full control of the campus. So they become dependent on BitNREN. So that is the policy I followed. I don't know about other NRENs, but as Rene was mentioning, that as long as your members are satisfied, what is the best service which you can monetize, that is the best service. So I can monetize all these services, and my members are totally satisfied with my services, which would have been impossible for them. Suppose they build a new campus. If they want, it's a government university, it's a public university, but if they want to build a network, they need to make a DPP, development project proposal, and probably it will take 2 years. So for 2 years, the whole campus will remain empty, because no teachers want to shift over there, no students want to go over there. So I tell them, okay, I will build it in 3 months. Probably PAN is also doing that. I found this model from PAN. I will build it in 3 months. You take money from me and you pay when you get it. And my board is totally supporting it. So I'm well off. And also the university is getting the benefit, and their allegiance to BDRN is increasing day by day. So that is the model I am going with. That's why I put it in out of the way services. It is not the typical NREN services. Even the DLT, distance learning theater, we build smart classrooms and smart theaters inside the campus that we do on our own. It used to be very expensive previously, but we built some local technology through which we can build it in a much cheaper cost. I will move to the tariff model later. Yes, Ashok.
Instead, do you need a license to sell the internet connectivity?
Yes, I have an ISP license.
ISP license.
Yes, I have an ISP license.
Yeah, because like in Indonesia, the ISP is fully for commercial. So that's why when we have to sell the internet connectivity, I think it's not many university want to do this.
Yeah, I skipped this slide. About commodity traffic, okay? So here, if I go into the details of it, I can see that Camren, RMNet, LARNet, the Myanmar REN, Nepal REN, and WINREN. I didn't although mentioned here, but I doubt whether you provide commodity services or not.
No, we didn't.
You don't provide. Yeah, it came from the compendium, but it was a miscommunication probably between you and me. That's why I couldn't put it here. But in another slide, I could show, it is not in here at this moment, that some of the NRENs, you are fully depending on the research network traffic. If I go to that model, my organization will slump right away. Okay, there is no way I can do it only with research traffic, because whole year probably in 2022 total research traffic was around 600 terabyte total research traffic, and out of 600 terabyte I am damn sure that 500 terabyte is cache services that is being provided by NKN. So if I would have gone to my clients, or if I would have approached my clients, my universities, they would have come with the same opinion that why should I go for research network? While I visited Nordonet, if you can remember, in 2016, I was telling them that, okay, I am giving priority to my research traffic and less quality of service to my commodity traffic. So they were asking me, what is the percentage of your research traffic? I told them 1%. So why you are putting additional focus on your research traffic by depriving 99% of your traffic or 99% of your customer? Yeah, that was the right point. We learned from them.
I think the question is also, how do you define commodity traffic? This is a discussion I had with NSF many years ago, because how do you regulate that? If I look where you can get research data on the internet, you cannot filter it in that sense. And why limit? There's two downsides. Firstly, I think you're punishing your constituency if you don't allow commodity IP over it, because a lot of the traffic to commodity IP will also be for research. The other thing is you're forcing your constituency to actually go out and buy the commodity internet from a commercial provider. So you're in principle shooting yourself in the foot, because you're already having a competitor coming through the door. So that doesn't make any sense to me. And the long discussions they ended up with NSF was about, well, if there's a researcher in one end, it's research traffic. So if a researcher doing a query, even for private research data, it's research traffic. If there's a researcher outside trying to reach you, it's research traffic. So I think the definition is that the definition of researchers only going to university is antiquated. So that's why we had that discussion back in 2016.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, maybe, yeah, the problem, right, in Indonesia, we have some complaint from the ISP. What's different between the NREN and internet as a ISP? Because when we calculate, if almost totally, we in Indonesia have a 64 million student in, yeah, and in higher education is around 7 to 8 million. And then they are afraid, I mean the ISP afraid and the telco afraid, if we go to the NREN, or the, some traffic going to the NREN, and then the allocation budget for them is reduced. So that's why sometimes we in NREN, like an IDREN, in their top of mind, I mean the ISPs, we are a competitor. But yeah, we didn't do like this. So that's the one of the problem with us.
If you become a wholesale customer, then you're not a competitor anymore. Then you're a wholesale customer of them. And the argument is, we take care of the last mile from you, and therefore you give us a lower price. So you can argue around that. I know there's some regulations in some countries as you can only serve the research community, and that's where the definition, if there's just a researcher or a student in one, then it's research traffic, period. That kills that argument.
Yeah. Okay, that's a good point. And then, yeah, for example, yeah, right now, yeah, we try to build the knowledge for the, or discuss with the ISP. And then right now, ISP have joined with us. I mean, using their idle capacity to build the IDREN. And then now is around 15 ISP coming together. Compared to the total ISP in Indonesia is around 800. It's just around 15 ISP will send, will give the idle capacity and, yeah, many things to build our NREN community.
Okay, if I show you this data, it was kept for tomorrow actually, but I am showing you. You see that Myanmar, Vietnam, Cambodia, Mongolia, all four, they don't provide commodity services. Their research traffic in the full year of 2022 is, for Myanmar, it is 0.04 terabyte. For Vietnam, it is 0.72 terabyte. For Cambodia, it is 1.42 terabyte. And for Mongolia, it is 4.92 terabyte. How come they will survive with such a low traffic? What will be their sustainability? You compare it with Singapore. They have 7,757 terabytes of research data. So their model and our model should be completely different. Japan POP, they are taking 7,687 terabyte. China is taking 5,878 terabyte. So how come with 0.04, 0.7 to less than 1, close to 1 or close to 5 terabyte will survive? There is no business model. You cannot develop any business model for them. Only giving research connectivity will not bring the money.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, we also faced a similar challenge that you brought up right now, where the commercial operators thought we were the competitors. And we had to make them understand that we are not competitors. So what we did was, like I said, we aggregated the bandwidth for the international commercial internet requirement from all our members. And we took them and negotiated with the operators. And we said, okay, we'll get the IP transit from you. But instead of you have to negotiate with 260 different institutes, you just negotiate with us. And in terms of the marketing, in terms of billing, less headache for the operators. In terms of the link maintenance, transit, you just talk to me. You don't have to talk to 260 members. So it becomes win-win situation, right? And also at the same time, the members are happy because the rate has come down significantly from $15 per Mbps to $6.5 Mbps per month. So that's what we did, and they were happy with our proposal, and we get the transit from them. But what is important is also that we, as a National Research and Education Network, go and peer at different exchange points. We do that. We peer with all the network operators in Bhutan, all the ISPs, all the telcos at 10 gigabit per second. And if you look at the traffic, we analyze the traffic of all our members. We see that almost 60 to 70% of the traffic, their demand is made from the local IX.
CDN traffic, right?
Yes, from the CDN, because the telecom operators, they host wide ranges of cache, Facebook, Akamai, Google, and
Also, you use NKN.
Yes, also for
CDN
resiliency,
service.
also we have NKN providing us all the cache contents free of charge. So we have 5 gig link to
5 Gbps.
yes, 5 Gbps. So in a way, because when we started this project, we discussed with our members, research and education institutes, universities, trying to understand what they wanted. And when we analyzed that, and we thought that, okay, if we have additional link, if we provision additional link to our NREN, and they maintain the upstream provider link to the ISPs, it would be difficult for them because they had some technical capacity issues with their IT team. They will not definitely be able to maintain two links, one to DRUCREN, another to ISP. So we said, okay, if that is the issue, we'll come and help. You just connect to one network, simplify it for you, simplify it for us, but we'll get the transit for you. So that's how we overcame this particular challenge.
For the telecommunication providers, it's a very, very simple calculation. If you make an agreement with them where they make the same or even more money than if they had to do it themselves, they will go your way because it's simple business for them. So if you can give them that amount of money as a wholesale provider, they will go your way.
Yeah. That's what we not we. I mean our members. When we have a opening bidding, I mean the members opening bidding for the internet, and then they put another section. Have the provider have to have connection to the IDREN, and then suddenly at least several ISP wants to have a like MOU with the IDREN. Yeah, that's. Well, we didn't. We didn't argue about that. But yeah, the member. I know we will not directive you should do like this, but no, that is come from the member. Yeah, they put another, especially for the public school, public university. They put when they like a tender for the internet, and then they put another section. The provider must have a link to the IDREN, and then suddenly many ISP wants to.
What I could understand from your version, your problem is not in the business model. Your problem is in the regulatory permission to provide commodity service. Am I right?
Yes. One of the things, yes.
Yeah, that is like licensing issue.
Yeah, licensing something. Yeah, like if we sell, not sell. I mean, deliver the case, Facebook case, even like Google case. And then, sometimes the ISP say that, your idea.
So they will raise the complaint that you are not allowed.
Yeah, that's the service. That's actually we give the service to service not they are not pay for us, but they just deliver. But yeah, they complain from the IFE. So that's why we try to find the business model, new business model that make happy our stakeholder. I mean, the stakeholder is one of the stakeholder is of course the telco company.
Okay, let's move forward. Then the tariff model. So different tariff model in different countries. The models, well-known models are, you can take some membership charge, or you can do it using connection based. That means based on bandwidth you can charge, or it can be on service, what services you are providing. Each service can have separate tariff structure. Collaborative funding model, this is very interesting, and Nordic countries follow this collaborative funding model. The cost of operating the NREN and providing services is distributed among the participants based on their size, uses, or other factors. Or it can be a hybrid type. Before opening the floor, let me show you the Nordic countries, what tariff model they follows. Cost shared by the Nordonet, cost shared by, please correct me, I have taken from one of your presentation. Cost shared by all member countries in ratio of GDP. What DEG does, Denmark E-Infrastructure Corporation, most probably, charges all member institutes 1.54% of their turnover to recover the cost. SUNET, the Sweden Research and Education Network, universities are charged 58% on their budget. Government grants against connectivity of institutes 22%, and rest 20% comes from value-added services. So this is completely cost recovery, no additional charge for basic services. The NREN tariff policy, what it can be exclusive for each member, or it can be a hybrid. So what BDREN does, it focuses on cash cow services and define charging model based on them. You may think of charging flagship services as well, if you have any. We keep other services attached to the cash cow or flagship services. I did mention about widely used services like computing and storage. Why I do that? Normally, they use it like anything. I have around 1200 cores of computer and probably 6 to 8 terabytes of RAM, and they are almost 80% exhausted. But if I start charging on them, I know that the uses will drastically get reduced. So I don't want to actually burden them on these widely used services, because my charging model is, as long as my cash cow services are good enough for my sustainability, I want to make them more dependent on my computing and storage services before starting charging them on those services. And the out-of-way services, normally, so I build a package, and within that package, I provide that, okay, your maximum cap, that I learned from the tariff model of Nordonet. Actually, they don't charge on bandwidth. Their bandwidth is open. Okay, how much you can use, you use it. But as their model is cost share model, so at the end of the year, if X taka is spent, then if there are 4 institutes, it is divided based on their revenue or based on whatever factor. So they don't mind spending, because all the expenditure will come from the member institutes. In my case, it is not that open, but if someone wants to take 300 Mbps, I will tell them for public universities, not for private universities, that you please come under a package. So there are package A, package B, package C. So package A up to 500 Mbps. Even if you use 300 Mbps, you have to pay for 500 Mbps. Okay. So that gives them an extra motivation to use more. Otherwise, if I would have charged for bandwidth, then they would have put their bandwidth manager to reduce their uses. So that used to harm me on my revenue earning, and that used to harm them, because research, you cannot constrict someone, you cannot choke someone and tell him, okay, do research. So it should be an open platform. So I allow them, okay, use it. And each and every university, they have a tendency to move to a higher category. Oh, why you are keeping me in package C? So I tell them that your bandwidth usage is still within the limit. Oh, no, that university has moved to package B. So please move to package B. So that is actually gives a boost to my revenue. So I am following that model in BDREN. So now going back, if you want to comment anything on this tariff model, and I will suggest that don't charge your members for a service which is very popular, but if you start monetizing it, it will get unpopular. So rather, let them get used to it, and once they become dependent on that services, start charging them slowly.
It's called the drug dealer model. No, NRENs did the same thing. We never tried to bandwidth limit it. We actually gave them more because they would always fill the pipes. And it's really hard for people to go back when they got used to a certain capacity, and then they're dependent on it and they're willing to pay.
Mm-hmm. And my members sometimes come to me, okay, that your bandwidth charge is high. So I tell them that the charge is high because I have value, I have additional value. What is your value? I am giving you computing services. I am giving you Zoom account. I am giving you consultancy services. I am giving you free training. Even I have sponsored one of the fellows into this APAN event. So I sponsored them to local events, to foreign events. So your members might come up that the price is high. I will always say that price is high, that is for sure, but value is also higher. I am providing you additional value. Any comments? Otherwise, we should. Yeah, but you should come.
One question. I watch this. What's your next service? What's the next service that is going to be really demanded by the I'm asking everybody. And just to think about what we take later on. Yeah. Because what I see and what I've seen is, and I didn't see during your presentation, is security. If I look at the threat picture globally, universities are in the top 3 for ransomware and DDoS attacks. In Germany, we had over 50. Okay. In Germany, we had over 15 DDoS attacks this year that are taking out universities' backbone for more than 2 months. So this security type services is one of the biggest one that we see upcoming at this point in time. If you look at the global threat picture, and I'll find the data and I'll share it with you, because I got some inside information on that. You'll see that university research institutions within the top 3 attacked vectors globally, and that can be detrimental to your operation. That was just a food for thought in the end, because I didn't see security up there.
You want to say something? No. Okay. You were raising your hand. Come here and officially close the session. Roshan,
Are we done?
you're the chair.
Are we done?
Yes, think so. I'm not done. I have many things to show.
Yeah,
but
there's a lot more to go.
let's keep
but-
something for APAN
Yeah.
57.
Okay. So thank you all. Thank you, Daurit, actually, for. In fact, like I said at the very beginning, most of you are not here when I said this. So I'll just repeat, just summarize. What I said at the beginning is we starting this discussion among NRENs, emerging NRENs we call. Most of us are in this region. So the idea is to see whether we can come together and based on what Rene told yesterday to all of us, to come together and work together and share services.
Okay, one more thing I have to show.
You have something to show. Okay.
Yeah, you can speak. Keep on speaking.
Right. And do work together. So this is like the first step towards it. So today what we are looking at is to get some information from all of us, what we are doing, how we are doing it, based on what Daurit has. And I'm going to get a report out of what we discussed today. And I'll share the report with all of you. So it's sort of a status report. And then we'll work towards what we are going to do next. And obviously we'll be meeting in APAN 57, where we are going to discuss more on, put the screen back.
Oh, they are highlighting you.
They are highlighting me, yeah.
Yes,
You know why.
you are the man.
Did you remove the screen? Yeah, so like I said, we are going to come up with a report and we'll share the report with all of you. You can give your feedback, input. However, we will, yeah. So we will, next meeting, we'll have better future things to do, coming up with the strategy, starting from there. I see some of others also spoke about strategy, right? So yeah, we'll work together.
Yeah, I
Thank you
have
very
one
much.
more model to cover actually.
Yeah.
The financial model I didn't cover.
Okay. So,
So
we
that is
can discuss
important,
financial model next time. Yeah. Thank you.
So here goes the maturity calculator. The link is there. So you can go, you can log in as a guest and you can identify your maturity. And I will share the login user ID and password with all the NNA survey participants so that you can get in and you can update your maturity. Okay. And this is the Asia Connect e-compendium. So the link is there. If you want to update, you can do that also. But I had a big plan. Actually, I had a plan to incorporate the previous, like the traffic from starting from the beginning of Asia Connect up until now. That would have given a better picture. But I could make sure that only 2020 compendium data is there. So I didn't get a good response from 10-star CC. That's why I have kept my project pending. So if you support, I don't want any financial support. If you give your mental support, then I can move forward because it's a dream for me.
As long as they don't have to do the work, you can always support.
Yeah.
Yes, you don't need to do anything. I will do everything because I have the liberty. So I will not burden you. Only burdening will be filling out the compendium data. Okay, and you can relax and the data will remain saved and previous data will be available. You will just update. If there is no change, you will just continue, keep on continuing. Okay, thank you very much for your patient hearing and your active participation.